Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. We're so excited to have you again. The case of the suspended EFCC boss Ibrahim Magu has scaled new heights right now in the Ayo Salami Presidential Committee, as more facts are coming up pointing to the fact that some of the allegations against him were actually true. Just yesterday, there had been a case of Osinbajo's aide collecting 250 million naira for a contract, but he did not execute it. And that was made revealed by one of the EFCC investigators in the ongoing Salami panel. But before we go on with details of the news, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on our subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that anytime we publish news, you'll be the first to get it. And according to the news, after receiving 250 million, one Mr. Donald Wakuma, who was a special assistant to the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, allegedly failed to execute some contracts awarded to his firm far back in 2018. The Economic Confidential gathered that Mr. Wokoma was a signatory to the bank account of the companies when he was special assistant to the vice president on the National Economic Council, NEC. A seasoned investigator at the Economic and Financial Crime Commission exposed the deal while testifying before the Justice Issa Ayo Salami Presidential Investigative Panel on Thursday. The Justice Ayo Salami panel is a presidential investigative committee examining activities of EFCC under the stewardship of suspended acting chairman of the agency Ibrahim Magu between 2015 and 2020. The anti-corruption operative, whose name is withheld for security reasons, alleged that several contracts were awarded without execution and payment were made to companies under the Presidential Amnesty Program. The officer said the case was assigned to Special Investigation Team sitting in the office of the National Security Advisor after an intelligence report was received on the fraud, which was one of the fraudulent activities at the office of the Presidential Amnesty Program in 2018. But upon investigation, it was revealed that Damage Integrated Services was awarded a contract worth about 98 million naira, and a similar contract was awarded to another company named Eagle Technology Limited at the same amount of 98 million. It was gathered it was further revealed that after the payment, Eagle Tech transferred the money paid to it to Damage. The total amount of 250 was then transferred from Damage to Alicia Investment Partner as investment. In the course of the investigation, it was discovered that Donald Wukoma, an SA to the vice president, was the sole signatory to the account of Damage, and he, his wife, and son were the shareholders of the company, the operative disclosed. He then added that Wukoma was invited to the commission, and after his initial statement was recorded, the chairman was briefed and he requested for a written brief on the involvement of Wokoma and that he needed to inform the vice president. He left for the villa to the VP's office, and up till about 11 p.m. there was no communication from him. The EFCC investigator told the panel that Mr. Wokoma was detained and subsequently released on the instructions of the chairman. Wow, that's quite indicting. According to him, Mr. Wokoma, regular and diplomatic passport were retained but were later released on the directives of the chairman. He said in the course of the investigation, it was discovered that the contracts awarded to Damage and Eagle Tech were never executed, and the receipts provided by Wokoma as proof of purchase of item were found to be false, as the said trader whom he was claimed to have sold the item was traced in Port Harcourt, and he stated he never sold the said items. The 250 million invested by Wokoma and traced to Alicia Invest was then placed on hold Wokoma subsequently instituted a civil suit for the hold placed on his funds to be lifted, and the court ordered sometime in November 2018 that in the absence of a court order, the hold should be lifted. However, in same November 2018, the commission was granted a freezing order by the court on the fund which nullified the initial order. The operative, who is said to be one of the incorruptible investigator EFCC can boast of, added that the investigation of the entire case was concluded and four separate charges were proffered against the following: Brigadier General Buru, retired, and Hanafi Moriki, Sergeant Joshua Bemeyefa, Donald Wokoma and his company Damija, together with Paul Ofana Santos and his companies. According to the EFCC personnel, the four charges were then taken to the chairman. After perusal, the chairman directed that the name of Donald Wokoma be removed from the charge and only his company be charged, while all other charges be filed as well. Shortly after, some of the officers investigating the case were transferred for being stumbling block of the soft landing intended to be given to Donald Wokoma. It was later gathered that the chairman directed that no one should look for Donald or any of his family members, since it was only Damija that was charged. The officer added, subsequently, Donald Wokoma lawyer, Barrister Victor Giwa, wrote through the Attorney General office for the lifting of the restriction of the funds, and upon being served with the letter, the chairman directed that Donald Wokoma's name be removed to the charge. The charge was subsequently amended and served on Donald Wokoma. Barrister Giwa also wrote directly to the chairman requesting again for the restriction on the fund to be lifted. The arraignment of Donald Wokoma is, however, pending, as the matter is slated for sometime in September 2020. Wow. A lot of things are now opening up on its own, and we are seeing a lot happening, And the surprising aspect of this particular report or investigation is that immediately this guy paid a visit to the vice president's office. I don't know if he met with Osinbajo. The case started going down, and all of a sudden it fizzled out. If not for the fact that we've heard this, before you know, that guy would have been let off the hook and everything will run. Because guess what? That's what we actually see. Immediately your name is known, automatically you are granted bail and you are taxed a cent and you just walk away enjoying. A lot of things have been happening now. Some of them are using their offices, to influence a lot of things. I think at this point, I've always been wondering what can be done to ensure that anyone who is in that position is not, reporting to some of these big boys who are corrupt minded, because I feel that at this point, our leaders need to get to a level where they allow things to flow the way it ought to flow. If truly we are fighting anti-corruption, if truly we are fighting it, because you can't imagine someone being given such a huge amount of money for him to carry out a contract, and unfortunately those contracts will not carry out, and some of the documentation, the receipts and the rest that he showed were actually fake. They were forged. That's another crime of its own. And just imagine how the whole thing ended because of the office of Magu. And I think that this is another strong indictment. Don't forget that some days ago, Giwa was also brought in to be investigated, only for some persons to come and whisk him out of the panel. He couldn't even talk, because according to the information we heard that a female lawyer and also Victor Giwa, both of them were supposed to be to tell of what they know about this whole issue of Magu, but all of a sudden they were freed. So you now realize that there's something so big. Thank God for this incorruptible, if he will remain incorruptible, because when Magu came on board, what we heard was he was incorruptible. But you know now, normally when you take up such position, there are some people you just can't try, and they have the capacity to bend your hand the way they want to bend it. I'm really sorry for the guy. That's why if you know that you have a clean slate and you are put in such position and you realize you cannot carry out your responsibility as expected, you just throw in your papers and walk away. Because I believe that the only way to salvage this situation would have been, even if you have spoken to the powers that be, whether it was the vice president or whoever, because we've not heard vice president's names being mentioned here, but whoever the person is, if he has so much influence in this country, very ideal, if we must kill this transaction, if we must make this not to go abroad for Nigerians to hear, just pay back the money that you took for the contract so the contract can be re-awarded. Simple. Than to play hanky-panky here and there and all of that. It makes absolutely no sense. But however, we are waiting for more updates. We've already heard what has happened, and guess what? Nigerians are really, really talking. This one had to carve out the statement, this particular paragraph of the statement, and according to him, he said he added then Wokoma was invited to the commission, and after his initial statement was recorded, the chairman was briefed, and he requested for a written brief on the involvement of Wokoma and that he needed to inform the vice president. He left for the vice president villa to the VP's office, and up till about 11 p.m. there was no communication from him. The person now said, laugh out loud, like I said in the past, the style of the vice principal, vice principal, the guy who call it vice principal, is similar to that of the headmaster, looting through proxy. I don't know if it was looting through proxy. I have no idea about it, because everything with time, I believe, it will be unraveled. But vice president was not mentioned here, as I did say before now. It's only that this guy paid him a visit. I do not want to know the constitutional meaning of that visit that was paid. But let's face the fact that something is wrong. The most important thing is the fact that this guy have been capitalizing on the powers given to his office to do things that are actually not in accordance to the provision of the EFCC, and that's really sad. We'd like to leave it there. Go to our comment section, let us interact. What do you think about this issue that have been brought to the limelight involving an ex-aide of the VP?